Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow RPG maker, creators, and developers and enthusiasts. Welcome back to the RTP podcast, the Rarely Typical Players, where we have once again brought another classic RPG maker game to you guys. We are very, very nice in doing so. So today we have another RPG maker title called Rise Above by LunarSpiral. Is the developer. I'm not sure if this game is commercial. It might be, but I'm not too sure. I didn't ask the developer. I should have asked the developer. What's this going the commercial route? But we're going to treat it just as such. I guess we're going to treat it just as such. We're going to give it the feedback that it definitely deserves, and and like always, me myself, Cychronic Games, and Harlequin is just going to give our honest opinion and feedback about the game. So before we dive into the topic, Rise Above, a quick synopsis about the game. It is basically it takes a classic turn-based JRPG formula and refines it by making it a bit faster paced, as well as giving a lot of room for skill expression and build customization. Play as Lero and explore the forest region of Fallmire. Tackle menacing bosses, complete side quests, or just sit back and do some fishing. The world is open. Very interesting. And fortunately, we were able to play this game. So before we get into it, I'd like to introduce my co-host. First, we had the resident German, SG Harlequin.
What's up?
And we got the sci-fi man himself, Cychronic Games.
All systems nominal.
All right, guys. We're not going to hold any punches on this one or any future games, available. This game by LunarSpiral looks nice. No one can deny that the new Time Fantasy tile set doesn't look bad at all. Right? It definitely give you that Super Nintendo, that SNES vibe, where we used to, come home from a long day of school, sit in front of our TV, plop down on our couch, and just turn on the TV and turn on the system and play our favorite RPG game. This game definitely has that, that look that take us back to where life was more simpler and there was no worries. So, should we worry about this game if it releases to the masses? Should we recommend this game to others? And will this game go down in history like our favorites like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI and Ogre Battle and stuff like that? So, like every podcast time, guys, we're going to talk about the story. We're going to talk about the battle system, battle mechanics, the music, and overall, is the game worthy? So, all right. I think I started last week because Harlequin said, man, you go first. He said, you go first to elaborate on the story. So we're going to start with Cychronic this time, guys. We're going to start with Cychronic.
Okay.
Tell us what you got so far from, like, story wise. Well, it is a demo. You can't really spoil it as too much.
Yeah.
Tell us what you got from
okay, so this story appears to be about this adventurer that he's a silent protagonist. And he came from some old, what was the town called? There was some weird name.
Yeah,
Old
old far.
Old Far.
Yeah,
Old fart.
and so that's where he came from, and he's heading to the city of what was the name of the city? I don't know, Fillmore or
Fallmire.
Okay, something like that. And apparently, like right now, people aren't allowed in that town because there's some kind of threat from these necromancer cultists or whatever they're called. And you run into them eventually as the main character, and the you get help. Somebody helps you, otherwise you would have died. Because, but anyway, you run into these necromancer things, and they can basically kill people and make them rise again to be like their thrall or whatever, like their soldiers. So they find you in the woods, and they think they're going to kill you, and then you actually defeat them, and they run away. And so then after that, you make it to the town, and you're trying to warn the town that the necromancers are coming, and they do come. Then you stop them, and then the town is under threat of these necromancers. So one of the counselors of the town, wants to meet with you, have lunch with you, and then I'm sorry, this story's making me laugh as I'm trying to talk about it.
All right.
And then the town gets attacked by the necro whatevers, and they're looking for some kind of sacred book that some that has like that will increase their knowledge in necromancing, and they succeed in getting the book. You get defeated, they succeed in getting the book, and then it ends up being where they say, well, we know where they're going because there's a lot of other books that are similar, that have different stuff in them that they're going to want, just like this one. And the next one is in this other town, and that's when the demo ends. So there's side quests and stuff. I didn't really do any of those. I kind of just blew through the main story as quick as I could, and that was what I got out of it.
All right. So
essentially the story is basically the 7 elemental crystals, but it's books.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I got out of the story. Like it's fairly generic. It feels like it looks nice, but story-wise wasn't really all that interesting to me. It felt like your everyday fantasy RPG, really. Like the opening was a bit weird. Like you're starting out with this voice in a black screen, as you usually do, and you're starting out in what seems to be a fairly known like adventurer town, right? Like people know that this old far town is where adventurers come from. So that was kind of MMORPG-ish in a way. But aside from that, it seemed like, your everyday RPG pretty much.
Yeah. So what I got from it, when the game first started off with the black screen, people say, you know what, don't try to give us the black screen, scenario, unless especially if you're telling the story, visual is always the best route to go. But the way how the story starts, it kind of feel like they're telling, like somebody's reading a book. You know what I mean? Like a bedtime story or something, especially with some of the keywords when they say, this is a great starting point for you. Let's start you here. It kind of remind you something like that.
That's the part what I meant. That felt like an MMORPG. Like some kind of god entity is like, I don't know, willing you into the world basically.
Yeah.
that's the feel I got. But like, I expected to create a character at that point, like choose my name and whatnot, and maybe pick a class like you do in an MMO. But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So
So
it was a little weird.
yeah, so you're from this place called Olfar, and your race is a Farian. So Olfar, just the name Olfar is just a place where, like Cychronic and Harlequin, mentioned, is where adventurers originate or come from. That's the main hub for all adventurers, So what propelled him to come to Fallmire, I really don't know, but in the text it did say the good starting point, go to the Great Forest of Fallmire where there's a conflict that's going on. So I don't know, maybe the voice is an entity which could guide heroes to certain parts of the play, of the world, to try to become a savior for people. I really don't know. The developer didn't really give us too much information on the origins of Lero, which is the main character. So the developer has decided to make Lero like Chrono or Ryu from the Breath of Fire series. They're silent. They're silent protagonists, and they only react with motions and signs and stuff like that. So it's really hard to tell the demeanor of the MC, unless except some scenes where where he feels like he's really excited. He'll like hold up his sword and he'll like flash and hold his sword up. Kind of reminds you of the Legend of Zelda. Link is also a silent protagonist that comes from an unknown place. It depends which Zelda you're playing, but Lero in this game, you really don't know much about this individual except he's an adventurer and he's from Olfar. That's about it. So you meet other characters. You learn that there's this cultist group called what they call it again?
Cults.
Cults.
The
Necrocults.
Yep.
The Necrocults, they are trying to build a undead army so they can take over Fallmire. So the people are under hush hush. Like the people of Fallmire and Woodtown, they are under a hush hush. So the government, or the leader of Fallmire, wanted the people to not know about what's going on, so they restrict them from leaving town. But the people are already upset. They're mad because they got loved ones. They need to attend to. They need to make a living. Some express that they need to make a living. They need to deliver medicine to help the sick. People is mad. They're upset right now because they're pretty much in prison in their own home. So you've been warned to not tell anybody about the necrocultists that you have encountered. Because people will have a panic attack, and or they may not believe you because they're gonna be like, well, we haven't seen any necrocultists around here in months, but in reality they've been laying siege around the town of Fallmire for a long time, for months at that. They've been watching them, and they've been waiting for the time to attack. So further, without giving too much information, the game do leads towards a artifact, which is an artifact of mass destruction, where the good guys is trying to keep the book from falling into the wrong hands, which is the necrocultists, where the necrocultists feels like they need this book in order to do good in their own eyes. You know what I mean? So it's like a struggle for power in a way, but they go about it the way that they know how, which is, you know, practicing necromancy, raising the dead, you know, trying to create an undead army, you know, to get their ambition and point across. So that's pretty much the story and the gist that I understand, which Harlequin and Cychronic both explain. So story is only a small part of it, but the main part of any game is the gameplay. Is the gameplay worthy? Is it worthy to play in the first place? You know, we have a turn-based RPG system where the developer felt like they needed to create a different twist in their game, in their battle system, to make the game more interesting, because they have pretty much been highlighting the combat system. That's like one of the first things you read on their itch page is the combat system. So we're going to elaborate a little bit more on the combat system, and you know what's so good about it and what's not so good about it. So if one of you guys would like to start that off, you know, the floor is open to do so.
Well, the combat system, I don't know. It was, and then to cap it off on the story, I did think it was a little bit for me, it was a little bit on the boring side. Like really wordy, hard to care about the characters, stuff like that. But like they had a basic plot going at least. But on the combat system, there was a couple things. It looks like they tried to implement a system where you have these stances where it's like it's kind of like a state that makes the enemy stronger, and then you have a counter to that, like a counter kick or whatever that makes that stop. And then you can use your regular attacks again. The leveling doesn't seem to change stats very much or at all, or very little.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, so you're leveling up and learning skills as you level up, but the stats stay the same. So I just kind of ran through it, and the actual battles are I don't know, they're just like average, normal. I mean, it all looks decent. Like the action sequences look decent. The presentation is decent, but under the hood, it just, it was pretty much attack.
Yeah.
Or you use a certain skill and then you attack. It's like the same strategy every time, really.
Yeah.
And there really isn't much to it. Then some of the boss battles maybe feel long, like they take a long time. And the HP levels are really low, like, which is fine, but so sometimes there was maybe some balancing issues, I would say, like maybe like sometimes it would be like a one-hit kill, and then sometimes it would be like a really long time before you could take them down. Like that just took a long time, depending on the enemy. And then I didn't really like the way that the enemies, like or like the visual encounter is cool when the enemy runs toward you and stuff. But then after the battle is over, they just blink. They just blink there, and then they start. Then they just start back up again. I don't know. I just felt like that was a weird way to respawn them. You know. But I don't know. It was okay. I mean, I've seen worse, but it could have been better. I guess that's where I would land on the combat system.
Yeah. The combat system is definitely one of the weakest point in this game. You know, like you said, Cychronic, there's nothing wrong with low HP games. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the balancing is different than the higher HP games where you got 300, 400 HP starting off. Well, we got 11 starting off, and you know, there's only so much room for error because, you know, 11 HP is not a lot. You know what I mean? You could really die, but if the enemies are taking 2 HP or 3 HP, you gotta balance in between that. So what the developer has decided to do was give us, well, most enemies have what you call the stances, which you explain, which put them in a state where either they could do more damage, they could do counters or whatever. So they gave the MC or the other battlers something called a counter stance, a counter kick, which removes that state from the enemy and also stun them, which giving you a free turn. But doing the counter kick doesn't, you know, really do much damage towards the enemy anyway. It's just majority of the time just take 1 or 2 HP away from them. You know what I mean? It's not like a killing blow. So they kind of relied their battle system around that system. But the problem is, regardless of what they implemented into their game, it still fall under the spam attack system. You know, like, majority of the skills that we got in this game wasn't really skills where you feel like these are offensive skills. Majority of the time they're defensive skills and not offensive skills, which add boringness to the game. You know, you figure, you know, okay, it's turn-based, it got action sequencing, it got, you know, cool looking visuals and stuff like that. But that doesn't even matter if it's just attack. You know what I mean? So, I mean, like, that really hurts the immersion that a player would have for this game early on. Like, fighting the goblins is okay. You know, kill them in like 4 turns, they're dead. 4 turns, 3 turns. You know, until you get stronger weapons, you're going through them. But as you go on, the battles get ridiculous. The battles get ridiculous when you get to the second part where you fighting the werewolves and the bats. It's ridiculous. You can't kill them. Solo, you cannot kill them. I don't care who you are. Maybe Cychronic kill them, but you're not going to kill them. They kill you in 2 hits. You run across even one werewolf, they kill you in 2 freaking hits. There's nothing you can do. You know what I mean? Like, you do your skills. You don't really have any skills at that time. You just got the kit. You just got the kit thing and the block stance. What's good? That's not going to do you any good. That's not going to do you no good at all. So,
well, it does buffer the damage a little bit for those werewolves, though. The one where it takes SP damage instead of HP damage.
Yeah, I mean, that's all good and dandy until they get tapped twice on you and you're dead. Cause you don't have enough.
Yeah.
You don't got enough HP to survive the attack. So, what was the developer's true intention? Did he want you to run away? Because we can run away 100% of the time. Like, you can't, you know, you can always run away. So that's how I was able to get through that part of the town, you know, that part of the forest, is by running away. Because leveling don't do you any good, because you don't get no stat increase, except I think when you get to level, if I'm not mistaken, I think if you get to like level 7, you get 1 HP or 1 MP increase.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So you don't really get much. You know what I mean? So even with the recruitable characters that you get other battlers, you get 2 extra battlers. They have the same skills as you, except one may have heal and the other one may have extra, you know, skills to their class, but other than that, they have the same, you know, non-exciting skills that you have, which is the counter, the wind up attack, and the other one. You know, it's lacking. It's lacking in enjoyability for the combat system. It feels like the combats are there as for filler.
Yeah, like you just took a template of the first actor and just made a couple copies, and it's like a proof of concept, but there's not really much difference between the different characters at this time.
Yeah. Harlequin, what was your experience with the combat system?
Yeah, I think you described it pretty decently. Like the main spin in this combat is like the enemy stances.
Mm-hmm.
But like you get the tool against the stance right from the get-go of the game, right? So, and that's it. There is no other like variety to the combat system that makes it like enjoyable or unique or really anything. The combat is pretty much just attack, and once you see a stance, use the counter kick and then go back to attacking. And you unlock that from level 1.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really no point in getting any more skills and whatnot either, because what's it gonna do? Give you, like, I needed to level up to level 10 to get a block stance. Who cares about a block stance? What the fuck? Like 10 levels just for that. Like nobody needs to block if the enemy is dead anyway. Pointless.
See, and you have these other skills. You got skill block, right?
Yeah, you got skill block, you got the wind up attack that gives you like a 50% damage boost on your next attack, and that's about it.
And you got the it's the other one too, the block stand. That's what the hero has. That you can block I think up to 5 turns. You know, enemies attack.
The description wasn't really accurate on that. It just said like the more SP you had, the more block you had or some shit. Like, I don't know. I never used it. There was never a reason to.
Yeah, and the other one was skills, which block the skills. Like they cast like a magic attack on you, it blocks that. And the other one was actually the physical attack, which blocks, you know, physical attacks. You know.
Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. This only works if you have an aggro management system, though, because I'm not about to just guess what character gets attacked and use the skill block or attack block or whatever, and then the enemy attacks somebody else. Like, what's the point of using that?
That makes sense.
If you have a tank that can taunt and then you can block with the tank, that makes sense. But if I don't know which one of my characters is getting attacked, why would I ever use a block and then risk wasting my turn because the enemy attacked somebody else?
DJ King said, doesn't sound like a fun game from what I hear.
I mean, it's not the worst game. It's fucking standard. Like, it's your run of the mill or fantasy RPG. You're some guy and you're saving the world with the 7 elemental. Oh, never mind, books, right? It's fairly standard. It looks nice because the Times Fantasy looks nice, and the stances are a good idea on paper, but the solution is too simple. Like, the solution to every enemy in the game is counter kick, and you have that from level 1. So I assume as long as you buy new gear in every town, you never need to fight anything. Like, you don't need to grind levels or whatnot, because you're not getting any stats anyway. And you don't need more skills either, just counter kick and attack. That's it. That's the game. Game solved.
The game was actually fine until this part. Like this is a good boss to like introduce, the stances, because he actually has a ability where if you don't stop him, he's gonna do damage, astronomical damage, pretty much one hit kill.
He's one hitting your characters unless you block him.
So that's definitely a great way to like introduce. But it seems like after this boss, in every other fight, it's going to be the same. It's going to feel like it's the same thing over and over.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's a nice gimmick for one boss that you win by interrupting his stance, right? It's a nice gimmick for a boss, sure. But the whole game is set up like this. This is the gimmick for the game, not for a single encounter, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Every encounter is like that. Like, either you just smash the enemy, like random trash encounters, don't even give a shit about the stances, I just killed them straight up. And every boss is the same, just interrupt the stance and then unload your TP and damage skills, and then try get the TP back as fast as you can, so you have a counter kick available whenever the stance pops up again.
That's the concept. That's the
that's
formula.
Not good enough for an entire game for me. Like, you might as well just use the default RPG Mega Battle. It would have made no difference at all. Like, I got no choices, right? There's no strategic decision to make. Like, if I see stance, use counter kick. It's not a decision I make. It's a decision that's forced upon me, because I'm gonna lose if I'm not interrupting the stance. So yeah, it could have been basic RPG Maker combat, attack, or in this game it's interrupt, stance, attack. It's not really sufficient to be fun. So what ended up happening, like, I fought the intro goblin a couple of times, because I too noticed they just blink and then basically respawn, and they gave a lot of XP. So I fought that one goblin over and over again until I realized I'm not getting any stats from leveling up. So I just ran through the forest. I didn't even fight a werewolf. Like, I just evaded all the encounters, because at that point leveling to me felt useless. And that's about it. Then I fought a cultist that was super easy. Like, he didn't even have a stance. He had a fireball, which kind of looked like a stance, but you didn't get the flashy stance pop up and whatnot, which you got from the Beastman. So that was kind of inconsistent. The fireball is not a stance, but it deals a lot of damage. So you do best to interrupt him when he raises his hand. So what's up with that inconsistency? Is it a stance or is it not?
It's technically when he raises his hand, he's about to do a powerful spell. See, I actually like that idea.
He's doing a fireball.
I like that idea.
But it's not notified as a stance. So it's inconsistent with what the game taught you 2 minutes before. Right? The Beastman has this really impressive stance animation, right? He's jumping forward, and then the stance pops up and the screen shakes, and then he jumps backward, and he's now in ram stance. The cultist, on the other hand, has zero effects on it. Like, he's not having a stance state. He's just changing his sprite to raising the hand, so that's inconsistent with the game design.
Maybe
right? You don't see a stance.
Maybe in the way of telling you that the stance is happening. But I see what you mean, though. I see what you mean. But you know,
you can figure it out, but
yeah, you can figure it
I'm
out.
just saying it's inconsistent.
You can figure it out, but most games will probably give you a hint. You know what I mean? Saying,
yeah,
hey,
the game gives you so many hints. Like they tell you 3 times about the stances and that you should absolutely interrupt them every time. And then the next minute they give you a boss battle that doesn't show you that it is in a stance.
So
if it even is a stance, we don't know.
You're looking for
right?
You're looking for to say stand, or for them to have a state where you can knock them out.
The game teaches you something so vehemently and then does a complete 180 and does it differently. It's not good.
Okay.
Combat is aside from that very like uninteractive and pretty much basic RPG maker. I mean the store page even says it, right? He's not doing anything special aside from the stances, which is, I don't know, I guess you can do it, but is it really fun? I don't know. I think every like successful RPG game, like not just RPG Maker, like every like big RPG game has something to their combat system that makes it fun.
Yeah,
or that makes it a little
Final
different.
Fantasy, exactly, like every Final Fantasy turn-based wise has some kind of feature that makes it interesting and more interactive than just hitting the attack button.
Yeah.
Be it, I don't know, summons and whatnot. I haven't played too many Final Fantasy games, but those are the most prominent example, I guess. A Chrono Trigger, I think, had something too. Didn't they have like combo attacks with like the other guys in the team or some shit like that?
Mm-hmm. Little
that's what I mean.
Triple and double.
Exactly. Like there's always something that makes it better than just you hit the attack button every turn, right? There's got to be something, and this stand thing is not good enough.
So
because you already gave me the solution at level 1, so
Yeah.
I don't. Even later in the game, it's still the same. For every fight, every enemy is always the same tactic. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to choose to do it. I have to do it, no matter what. So I solved the game at level 1 already. I know how to win every fight, which is probably not so good for a game where I'm constantly fighting something.
yeah. So I'm gonna give the developer some points on this though. There is definitely strategy in the game,
Where?
like timing when to do certain abilities, like the skill block or the kick stance. Like there's like some, at least 2 of your characters gonna have that ability. At least 2. The other one not gonna have it. So if you're not looking out for certain patterns, you're gonna miss it.
I mean, the simplest way to probably win every fight in this game is just attack. Until you see the enemy using a stance, and then use your kick, and then use all your damaging spells.
Yeah, attack and heal. That's pretty much.
It's not really strategy, is it?
Uh,
I don't know. For me, it's not really.
and another thing I didn't like was the characters that you get who are max level, and these are the skills that they get. Like you got level 20, and you got level 20 battlers with the same skills as a level 7 main character. Like that's telling the player there's nothing to gain in this game. That's what you're telling. That's what you're telling the player. It's like we get set abilities. We may learn some abilities by someone teaching us, or probably doing the tutorial. We may get extra abilities, or we're not getting anything really by leveling, like like stats increase unless we buy certain armors or certain weapons, which buying one weapon was totally useless. I don't know if Cychronic ran into that problem, but I definitely did.
The what problem?
The pickaxe.
Oh yeah, I didn't go into the mine.
You ain't
I didn't get a pickaxe.
You ain't buy it?
No, I didn't. I just bought the sword.
Yeah, because the pickaxe had plus 15 attack.
Okay.
So I bought the pickaxe, 300 gold, and I was able to equip the pickaxe. Right. So my base attack went from 8 to plus 25 or 23, something like that. So I'm like, oh man, I'm about to kill these, and I'm about to knock them around, right? So I get in the battle. I'm taking 2 HP off. I'm like, hold on, I said, man, I was just taking 6 to 7 HP per attack. Now I'm taking 2.
Even though the actual stat numbers showed that it was higher to use the pickaxe?
Yeah.
Huh, that's weird.
So the pickaxe is actually used for mining.
Yeah.
So why not give the player, why not make the pickaxe a key item or a consumable, which you can't really use unless you're engaged in the pick mining game, and your players thinking this is a stronger weapon for a better bargain. 300. If you see you're increasing your attack, even in the store page, you see the plus 15. You're gonna buy that. And I bought it, thinking I'm having advantage. Already saved it. Already moved on. It's too late now to turn back. I already saved the game.
And that was fun, right?
No.
It's a weird design though. Like they had to somehow program it, right? That the pickaxe increases the stat but lowers your damage. They had to program that in instead of just making it a key item or some shit like that. That's weird.
I don't know, but it said
maybe it's just a bug. Like who knows?
no,
why.
it wasn't a bug because the developer actually addressed it. Don't get me. They addressed a whole bunch of issues just from the playthrough, and they realized that the balancing was a problem, and just the overall combat.
Yeah, combat is not really good. The thing is, like in an RPG, you gotta have somewhat of a balance, right, between the usual 3 categories. Like you got your combat, you got your world, your exploration, and the looks, and you got your story and characters. You need a balance in that. Like if your combat is weak, you either need a really strong world with really good exploration and really good characters and story, or you gotta have a good combat system, and then you can be a little more lenient on, I don't know, maybe the exploration or the characters are maybe not that well written, because then people are gonna play your game simply because they're having fun fighting stuff. But in this game, none of us is like AAA levels of writers, right? We don't know really how to write good characters and whatnot. We just try and do it. So none of us is really producing like any AAA quality characters or stories. So that's already a little bit of a weak part. And then your combat is also weak, and exploration is super weak. Like all the chests I found had an antidote in them, so that it was immediately boring and I stopped exploring. So all 3 parts are kind of weak. So you got your generic RPG, which is generic fantasy with your find the crystals, find the books, find the whatevers, right? Which is always like a fantasy trope, find the 7 whatever. And the characters are not really interesting. Like the dialogue is fairly well written, but too wordy. Like they're talking a bunch of nothing all the time. And aside from that, it's like, yeah, very generic and kind of weak.
Just kind of a little bit boring.
Yeah. But it looks nice.
It does look nice. It looks well.
I do like the action sequencing they had. They look smooth and well timed and whatnot.
You don't think the Nero cultist was an interesting, a turn point, like to gain the interest of potential players?
No, the necro cultists are just your whatever fantasy enemy. It's like it's just the opposing faction, whatever it is. Like I found the intro kind of cute, like when you fight your first 2 cultists and they babbling on about spilling all the secrets and whatnot. That was kind of cute. But aside from that, like there's not much here. It's very generic. You can play it and have a decent time with it, but it's not really anything I would pick up over any other game, really.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
So,
but to the game's credit, at least it worked. Can't say it didn't work. I didn't find, aside from the bridge, where there's this bridge cutscene where you see the big cultist for the first time, like they make your character walk into the middle, and after the cutscene, they teleported to the right tile, so that was a little hiccup there. But aside from that, the game worked perfectly fine. I didn't find any tiling issues or eventing bugs or whatnot.
I found a small eventing bug. So if you go to the inn and when you get to the town, the general dude that you talk to is like standing, just static image standing in front of like where you'd walk out of your room. So like when I stayed at the inn first, the dude's just standing there, and I think that a cutscene's about to happen, but then you just walk around him and he's just a static image. So it's just kind of funny. It's a small bug, but
yeah, but we've seen worse, like a lot worse.
Oh yeah.
So
there's been way worse.
I guess kudos for like doing a decent job at programming your game. But aside from that, I don't know, it's just really generic and like we don't know nothing about our main character. We don't keep the herbalist girl from the start of the game, at least for now. And the other 2 people you meet, they don't join you either into the big city. So there's not really anything there. Like, if you want a silent character, I think we need more background and motivation than just you are now alive in this world and you're just moving about because some kind of voice on a black screen told you so. Like if you take Zelda, for example, you start off in this mystical elf village, right? And you're joining the big Deku tree and you have to find your sword and whatnot. And in this game, you just poof, you're alive now, and then you gotta go to that town because I said so. It's not really that interesting.
You ain't find that part interesting.
Yeah, I don't find that part interesting, especially because it's a silent protagonist. Like he has no personality for himself, so I'm not really interested in that character. But I also don't get any choices to make, so I can't insert my own personality into him. So it's overall just kind of there, not really that intriguing or anything.
Yeah. Another thing that I found, weird with the game was, like some of the quests. Like you had the spirit quest, was one thing. Then you had, long story short, the end game content should have been what we was presented for the demo. If you guys experience the in-game content, you're going to feel like the game should have went this route. The characters were better. We actually had characters with better abilities, better skills, more adventures, but it was just overall better characters. The main character, the MC, there's nothing exciting about the MC to be exciting about the MC. Like, the MC is supposed to be like your character that your player grows on to. Like, we know Link.
Yeah. Even though he's a silent protagonist, he still has his own personality.
He don't have any type of abilities to make him to want to play as him. There's nothing about the MC that makes me excited to have him in my party, is what I'm saying. All I could do is wind up. All I could do is block stance. I may get a poison stab with a weapon, which doesn't really do much. Like, there's nothing exciting about this guy. Like, no type of evolution, no type of manner to make him I want to use him in my party, not this guy. I want to use the other people. This guy, nothing exciting about. I'm just being honest.
Just ditch the MC and go with the other people only.
Yeah. So they had fire spells. They had an electrocution spell. They had a decent healing spell. There's nothing about this hero. There's nothing about this hero that screams he's a strong fighter. There's nothing.
Just happy to be here.
Just happy to be here.
By raising his sword every time a fight pops up.
Yeah, he's a little on the bland side too, personality-wise. Yeah.
So, I mean, the game.
But I think that ties into my point, right? Is because we don't have any background to his character. Like, if you have what's this character's motivation, right? Why is he going there? Why is he doing what he's doing? Like, he's clearly talking, but we can't hear him. Like, he's responding with these speech bubbles and whatnot. So, what's going on with these characters, right? If you look at Link or any other silent character, you always know why they're doing what they're doing, right? We know why Link is traveling outside of Kokiri Forest and trying to save the princess. We know why he does the things he do. And with this character, we just pop into existence and we're being told to go to this town for no reason other than there's a conflict going on. Yeah, sure, but why do I care? Like, as the character, why does this character care about the conflict in some village in God knows where? Who cares, right?
Yeah.
So, without a background and without much personality shown otherwise, I can't really care about this main character. Like, he doesn't need to be there. He's just a random soldier goon for all I care about, right? He's got an attack button and a wind up like every other soldier I met in the game so far.
He's a good kid though. He's a good kid.
Yeah, but that doesn't make for a very good main character.
Yeah, he's excellent. He's a really excellent, good kid. This is how you make him better. Get him better skills.
Not only, I don't care about the skills. The combat system in general is botched. I don't think skills are gonna fix that.
And the enemies.
But like,
go ahead.
But like, give me an interesting main character. Like, if you had your intro, maybe show us like who's that voice? Like, what's actually happening? Are we just being spawned into the world by some god or whatnot? Like, why are we here? Who brought us here? Like, give us the motivations of this character. show us why we are going on this adventure. Like we're not having we're having a call to action, right? Because the voice told us so, but we don't know the why. Like we need a
But-
why. Why is this character going there? Why does he care?
Yeah, like one thing that would be cool that I think it would actually like fit with the story pretty well that they wrote is maybe he just comes from a small town or whatever, and that town was the first stepping stone to being like burned down or something, and he's like having to try to like warn the next town or so to speak.
Could be anything really, but we don't know. Like
Right.
for all we know, what was it? Old Far could be anything. Could be the fucking void for all we know.
And here's another thing, right? That wish I didn't really get. You meet other players, other NPCs that's from Old Far as well.
Exactly. So maybe
Like-
the other soldier guy just got spawned into the world too at some
Like
point. We don't know.
They don't know nothing about this guy. They don't know, like if you're from a town or Old Far. Let's say if I know Cychronic, like I live in my state, Cychronic lives in his state, but we get to talking and I learned out where he's from, and I so happen to be there from there too. More than likely, we're going to engage, especially if I ain't been there in so long. We're going to engage a conversation about, oh wow, is so and so still there? Is this and that still there? Or
How has it changed?
yeah, something like that. But in the dialogue, even when you find out these adventurers are from the same place you're from, it's like there's no type of bond or
Camaraderie or
to where they're from. And you would figure maybe Harlequin is right. Maybe they are created from a god, an entity, and they just spawn at a location where they're needed. But I don't really think that's true, because you do run into a couple more Farians after the in-game demo content who are from Old Far themselves, but are adventurers, and they are after stuff themselves too. I don't want to give too
Old
much
Far
away,
is
but
mentioned a lot in this game, but you don't really know what is Old Far. That's the thing. Like the voice mentions Old Far, but you're not starting in Old Far. You're starting somewhere else.
In
So Old
Fallmire.
Far is not really a city of beginnings, like where your RPG begins or anything like that, right? It doesn't seem to be a town where every adventurer starts out, because we're not starting in Old Far. So what is Old Far anyway? Is it like the space, the void? We have no fucking idea, because nobody talks about it. They just be like, oh, you Old Far, you Farian. All right, I'm a Farian too. Okay, but what is Old Far? Like, is it a city or
but
is it not? Why
People-
didn't we start there?
people, especially the soldiers, they seem kind of impressed once they found out you're from Old Far too.
Yeah, the concept of an adventurer and adventurers being from Old Far seems well known in the world, but it's not explained to the player. So we end up not having any motivations behind the main character, because we know nothing.
Yeah.
So, and I played for 2 hours and I still know nothing. So I'm growing tired of this MC that's basically just a soldier skills wise and has no personality other than lifting his sword and being surprised, I guess. So I'm kind of not interested in the main character of the game, which is not good for an RPG.
Mm.
You gotta love him.
Mm. So,
Like the only interesting thing I found in the game is that you meet a lot of Farians, right? Like the girl that saves you first, the botanist, is a Farian or whatever. Or no, she's not a Farian. She was a soldier, military family type thing, right? But she's a botanist now. She's doing potions. And then you meet this other guy that is a Farian that is now a soldier. So not every adventurer keeps being an adventurer apparently, but we are. Like, it's weird. If we are on a godly mission to like solve a conflict, then why are there so many other people that are adventurers that are not on a mission? Like they just being random soldiers and whatnot. Like from the way the game described it, adventurers seem to be some kind of heroes or, you know, famous people, well known, like everybody knows what an adventurer is and they know they help people and whatnot. But every Farian we meet is like a random soldier guy and whatnot. I don't know, it's weird, I can't make sense of it.
Lord have mercy. Cycron, I'm gonna ask you, what you think about the last cultist battle when he resurrected the dead?
I don't know. It seemed similar to the previous battle that happens right here in the video where he raises the dead. It just seemed like the same thing except two of them instead of one. Or actually it was one guy, but he resurrected multiple and he was stronger, but it wasn't hard or anything until you beat him where he just does a one-hit kill on you.
Well, this one, yeah, that boss, he didn't do the what's that ability? The taunt, like the soldiers do the taunting.
Oh yeah, that makes you attack the soldiers instead of him.
You gotta keep attacking them, and it takes at least 6 turns to kill him.
Yeah, well, what I
just counter kicked him.
Yeah, I did the counter kick on the one that was taunting, and then
counter kick ain't gonna do you no good.
No, it does. It makes the stance of the aggro go away.
You must not have all 3 of them taunting.
No, I didn't. I just ignored them and went. Yeah, because I just ignored them and went straight for.
That's the strategy, right?
The throat. Yeah.
That's the strategy. You ignore the soldiers. You attack the boss, but once he resurrect all 3 of them, and do taunt, and all 3 of them do taunt, you still gotta wait 5 turns for the cooldown for the kick, the counter kick.
Okay, yeah.
So they're taunting. All 3 is taunt. You can't attack the boss, so you're attacking. You have no choice but to kill the soldiers. You have no choice.
Okay, yeah. I did it on the first soldier. I just did the counter kick on the first soldier, and then I just kept attacking the main necromancer, necrocultist, or he had a name, Dante or whatever. I went straight for him.
See, you got good RNG. I got bad RNG.
Yeah.
Like literally, it took me like 54 turns to win that battle.
Okay, yeah, no, it took me only like 8 turns or something. It wasn't very long.
Yeah, he resurrected all 3, and he was healing. I'm like, really? Like, what mechanic is this?
Just like you gotta love the MC, man. You gotta love the RPG maker RNG. You just gotta love it, man.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the game. I like the direction the game is heading. It's just the combat for me. The story is okay. You know, I could deal with the story. The story is okay. Like the events, the unfolded events, it's enough to keep you playing. But the battles, I feel like the enemies are too tanky. Even the regular enemies, you got a party of 4. It still takes heck of a rounds to kill the enemies, and you're using your best skills. like the enemies feel like boss battles.
Well, I wouldn't know. I didn't fight any enemies since leveling felt pointless anyway.
That's what I mean. Like after the demo, you recruit. There's the when you beat the demo, it says there are soldiers that's available inside the near the mail room. So you go up there, you could recruit soldiers for like 300 gold, 400 gold, and these soldiers join you. They actually have abilities. They actually have like regular abilities like fire and healing and stuff like that. Then you run into a story. You meet the old man and the girl. And you do their quest line. You basically get into the game itself. That's where the game actually takes off, and you can find like on screen abilities where you could jump and actually get that treasure chest that you see in the beginning of the game, which you figure out, man, how the heck do I get this treasure chest? You actually get.
Well, I wonder why that is not in the beginning then. Like, if you have that kind of interactivity on your map with jumps and whatnot, why are you starting your game off so weak? Like, why can we not jump around the forest and whatnot, where to increase like exploration and then the interaction on the map? Why do we have just like 2 goblins to fight and a chest with a fucking antidote in it?
It's RPG Maker, guys. You can do whatever you want.
I didn't see this fabled end game you're talking about. I'm just here wondering if you like that part, and if it's that much better, why doesn't the game start out with that?
The end game is so much better. So much better in terms of characters. Then there's a world map you could explore. There's like extra content, like a secret society, like a dragon clan. Then you gotta fight the super boss, which is hard. Almost killed him until he had this healing ability, and I say, you know what? Screw it, can't do it. But I can do it. But it was just already. I was already fighting him for like 20 minutes, anyways. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. I mean,
it's an odd choice, definitely. Like, when somebody picks up your game and they're not impressed within like the first hour tops, then they're gonna drop your game. So I'm just here wondering why you're starting us off on the weak parts and not on the strong parts in a demo. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. A demo is like, the purpose of a demo is to get people interested in the game and not bore them until they quit.
but I did actually like the necrocultists. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 necrocultists you meet first were like kind of cute, funny, and stuff like that. Like, the writing is also not bad. It's just too wordy. They go on for too long. Every character you talk to just goes on and gives you all this hand-holdy information nobody gives a shit about. Like, when you fought the big cultist for the first time, and this soldier tells you, alright, you can now go into this bigger town, and he's telling you, don't forget to check out the potion shop. Like, yeah, dude, I know what a potion shop is. It's like, you don't have to handhold me every step of the way. I can decide for myself whether or not I want to upgrade my gear or whether or not I want to buy potions. Like, you don't have to tell me every 2 steps that there's a potion shop. Like, I know. Right? So the game starts out really hand-holdy and whatnot. It's like, even the combat tutorial, like, you can get rid of the combat tutorial. Nobody needs that. Nobody. Even a player who has never played a fucking RPG in their life before doesn't need that. Everybody can read what an attack button is. Like, there's no misunderstanding in that. Everybody can read what a wind-up does. It's literally in the skill description. You don't need a tutorial for that. And I skipped it, as I usually do, because RPG Maker combat systems never need a tutorial for me. And you tutorialize the stances anyway. Like, I don't get a choice to skip that, right? Why?
So you could
Well-
skip it and still get a tutorial. That's what you're saying.
You can skip the tutorial at the very beginning of the game, which I assume was useless anyway, because at that point we didn't learn anything anyway. Like, what's it gonna tell me? Use the attack button to deal damage? Yeah, I can figure that out. Right? So, and then you get into that small area where you fight that beast man, that minotaur, and then it's gonna pop up the stance tutorial, which is like the only thing in the game that could possibly need a tutorial. You don't need the tutorial at the start of the game. What's that good for? What did you, I'm pretty sure you played it. What did you learn in that?
That you can interrupt the stances.
Oh, the first tutorial, right at the start of the game.
The first tutorial.
Yeah. The very first tutorial when you start the game, the first combat.
Not that I already knew. I already knew how to
exactly.
attack and
how hard to grasp is RPG Maker combat.
But what if nobody ever played a role playing game? That's what developers are trying to cover. Like, people never played.
You don't need to.
This could be their first role playing game. That's probably
So
why
what?
they entered the tutorials for.
So what? Are you telling me that there's people out there that couldn't figure out how to hit the attack button?
Mm-hmm.
It's not needed. It's just not needed. Anybody can figure that out. Anybody can go and like, okay, how do I figure this out? This is an RPG. They're not gonna drop your game because you didn't tutorialize the most basic turn-based system in existence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can figure it out. Like, even if it takes them a minute, they're gonna click on the skills. They're gonna see, I can do this and that, and this skill does this and that. Okay, cool. They're gonna check out the guard button if you have one, maybe, and they're gonna check out the attack button, and that's it. That's combat. You don't need a tutorial for that. You don't need a fucking skip button for the tutorial.
You need a degree to be able to to be able to use the combat system.
People can figure that out on their own. Like, that's so basic, everybody can figure that out on their own. That doesn't need to be a tutorial.
But
the only thing that needed one is the stances, because that's outside of the ordinary, right? That's your special mechanic. It's not really anything special, really, but it's not the standard. So you tutorialize the stance, which is fine. Like a short little notice, this is a stance. You can interrupt stance with kick. Okay, got it. So, and that's it. Why are you keep telling me that? Like 3-4 times, remember to kick the enemy. Yeah, I got it the first time around. I'm not stupid. Hey, let me play the fucking game.
It's like,
you don't need to hold my hand.
See there, that's the guy on the where he's just standing in the inn. Yeah.
At least that's my opinion. I don't know, man. I hate tutorials, especially when they're just fucking dialogue boxes with no meaning. Like, everybody can figure out an attack. Don't tell me there's somebody that doesn't.
You can use items by going into the items menu and clicking on
it's
an
like,
item.
No shit, man, right? It's like, oh my god, this revelation, clicking on items opens my inventory with items.
So you're saying,
oh my god.
So you're saying all future role-playing games should not have tutorials like that unless...
It depends on your system. Like, if you've
I don't
got
know.
the basic
I don't know.
RPG
I don't know,
Maker
man.
system,
I don't know. I think tutorials are fine to a standard extent. Like there's nothing wrong having a tutorial.
Nah.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with it, but I think it should be given. It should be an option to view them or not to view them. But they should definitely.
That's what people say. But
they should definitely.
Bad.
They should definitely be in games, though. I agree. They should be in games because you always going to have that one person that's going to say, "Hey, how do I do this? Why? How do I do this? How do I do that?" You're going to have that one person that ain't going to know how to do jack. And you're going to have to tell them. You don't think so?
No.
Yeah.
Not with something basic like that.
But I just like to go for a basic hit, like shoot them in the ass. That's where they're most vulnerable, or whatever.
Yeah, but you can't really speak on that because y'all know what to be looking for in RPG. But
Man,
somebody that
I let my wife play Origins. Even my wife can play Origins, and she's never touched a game.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Some people comprehension skills ain't like
man. There is nothing to comprehend in basic RPG Mega Combat. There is nothing. It's as straightforward as it can get. I
seen people say, "Man, how do I play this?"
On what game?
One was Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, and Final Fantasy VII is a little more complex than this.
Nah, not if they're in the battle system and you say, "Here, fight this battle for me," and it clearly has attack in bold letters, and they still asking you how you play this.
Yeah, but it has more stuff to it, right?
But attack, when you hit attack, it's just going to attack regardless.
Yeah, but there's more systems to it that are out of the ordinary.
Like what?
You don't win Final Fantasy by just attacking. There's more mechanics to it, right? There's like which one did I don't know the number. Which one was the one?
Final Fantasy 7. Oh, Squall 8.
8. I never played 7 because I thought it looked shit. So I played 8. It was the first Final Fantasy I got. So when you attack with Squall, you can hit an extra button to activate the gunblade. You don't know that. So you're missing out on extra damage. You can do summons. And by the summons, you can push, what was it, a select button? And then you can spam the square button to increase the damage. Those are extra mechanics.
They need
a tutorial.
You could draw, like if you got a certain draw, you could just keep drawing elements from the enemy, increasing like your attack and BOP.
Exactly.
In the beginning
of
the game.
That shit needs a tutorial because it's out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
But if you have a basic attack with no extras on it, that's just a single sword with no gunblades.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. The simplest stuff, you could give somebody a controller and you could put Super Mario Brothers 1 on, and they can be like, how do I jump?
Yeah,
hit the button.
Then they're gonna push some random buttons and they're gonna figure it out. That's what I'm talking about. You can figure it out.
Oh,
you don't need a tutorial for it. You can spend like 2 seconds figuring out RPG.
To be professional, bro. To be professional, you have to.
I hate it. I hate it when games.
Even when you
want to read the tutorial.
Even when you buy stuff in the store, it says "Do not consume, may cause bodily injury." And people
because of the Americans, because they eat papers from
No.
And I've seen the lawsuits, man. Somebody sued Snickers because they eat the fucking wrapper and had an upset stomach, man. I've seen it. Don't excuse your race, man. No, it's not even a race. Don't excuse your nationality, my boy.
Come on, bro. You trying to play us.
McDonald's because their coffee was hot. Like, no shit, dude. Coffee's hot. Who would have thought?
We're not talking about me. We're talking about this game. We're talking about Rise Above.
Look, I tell you why I hate it. So you make a little unnecessary tutorial, right? You give me a choice. Do you want to read the tutorial, right? You have the choice. And I'm here like, okay, do I want to skip it? But I can't skip it because there is a chance that this tutorial, that this combat system has something I don't know. I can't possibly know it. I just started the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm inclined to click yes, even though I already know everything anyway. Because you didn't put anything unique in your game. So that's a shit choice. So now I'm watching a boring tutorial about a combat system everybody and their mama can play. And I'm bored already. Just don't put it there.
You're already bored, huh?
Of course. Nobody wants to read tutorials, and some things just don't need a tutorial.
Okay.
I didn't do it either. If you look at my tutorial in Origins, the only thing I put up a tutorial is how do you block and how do you attack with the timed input. That's it. I'm not telling you anything else. You can figure that out on yourself.
So how do I heal my characters then? You ain't gonna tell me how to do
figured
that?
it
Oh my
No.
god. Okay.
Yeah, you basically just
You
have to,
played my game. Did I tell you how to do it? No, you already knew it. You're either gonna use an item or you use a spell if you have one. I didn't need to tell you.
some people
And I
just-
didn't need to tell my wife either. She could figure that out. That items is probably to use an item.
Yep.
See, DJ King, that's different because when you making a game that's like numerical, like Final Fantasy, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The developers automatically gonna assume that you played a Final Fantasy game before, so they will make something like a tutorial house, like FF6 did. That way, you can read up on the mechanics that they already think that you should already know. So, this is RPG Maker game. You can't assume everybody knows how to play RPGs.
You can. As I said, like even if you don't know how to jump in Super fucking Mario, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna quit the game. You're just gonna hit random buttons and see what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 seconds later, you know how to run, you know how to jump, and you know how to run and jump and whatnot. You didn't have a tutorial back then, unless you read the manual, I guess.
Yeah,
I didn't have it.
That's
I
all
didn't
it
even
was.
have I didn't even have a manual because we got ours from the flea market. We just had a cartridge. So
Yeah,
how did
I
I
never-
learn to play it? I just hit a button.
I never ever read the manual.
Yeah, I never had manuals because we bought all our games from the flea market, like my dad did. I never seen a box of a Super Nintendo game. I never seen one in my life. We always only had cartridges. So how did I learn to play all these games? By hitting buttons. Like that's how you learn how to play games. It's just the basics, right? How do you move? Like use your fucking arrow keys. Like how else do you think you're gonna move? Oh yeah, by the way, this game of course doesn't have WASD movement. Like it's a game from the 80s.
It don't have WASD.
Yeah, of course not. Because why would you have modern standards in your game? But yeah, it's like some things just don't need a tutorial. Really not.
Okay.
Like there's a couple of things that happen normally when at least as a PC player, what you do when you start a game is either you're gonna jump right into it, or what most people do is you're gonna check the options menu. And in that options menu there's usually keybinds in modern games, so you could figure it out there if you really wanted to, or you're just gonna jump right into the game, pick up your controller, and what moves things on the controller? Usually the fucking joystick.
So
you're
this.
gonna wiggle that around a little bit, and then you're gonna push buttons to figure out what button does what.
So you saying this game need WASD?
Every game needs WASD.
Yeah,
You hear that,
I think-
developer?
I think it's easy to add in, so might as
It
well.
takes 3 seconds to fucking drop the plugin in, and it works.
3 seconds.
Is not even. Like you just need to drop the plugin in, activate it, and it works. If you want to be extra fancy, you can change it to WASD by default because it doesn't disable the arrow keys. So you can just use any you like. So there's no reason to not have it. And having a decent options menu should be a given too.
Bird Bunch game has tutorials, so
Bird Bunch game needs tutorials because that game is fucking crazy.
yeah, I agree. I
Like,
agree.
Bird Bunch's game has a bunch of different mechanics that you've seen nowhere before.
Yeah,
That needs a tutorial. I need to know what is that fucking sword falling down on my head all day long. I need to know that.
he need a
But, like-
tutorial to make it for players could speed it up. Cause I'm tired of seeing people play the game and the sword. They waiting the sword goes down to the start flashing to hit the attack button. That's hard to watch. That's hard to watch, Bird Bunch. So let them know you can hold the button to make it faster.
Oh, yeah.
My goodness
DJ
gracious.
said something true too. Like RPG games is usually not really a genre for casual players. It's like nobody who's playing like once a week is gonna pick up an RPG.
RPG games aren't for casual idlers, so it should be made for people who never played it.
No.
So he's saying it needs tutorials.
Who's that casual. What? No.
A lot of people don't like when they RPG handholds you.
Yeah, this game has a lot of hand holding and tells you where to go constantly. It's really annoying. Like, either let me explore or don't let me explore, but don't give me this weird mix of both. Like, you're promising me an open world, but you're constantly telling me what to do is weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, tutorials really... Some things just don't need them. Really.
Yeah. Alright, so what else about this game that you do like or you didn't like? That you think we cover? I mean, the music was great. I like the music.
Was picked out well, yes. I did like the music, and I did generally like the cutscenes and the writing. Like,
I hate it.
What, cutscenes?
No. The statue NPCs.
Statue NPCs.
Yeah, NPCs don't say jack.
Oh, I didn't talk to any random NPCs because who gives a shit? But like the important cutscenes, like when you talk to the important people, and they are expressive, right? They're jumping around and they have sound effects and little left and rights and whatnot. That was cute.
Yeah, he did a great job.
I like the main character drawing out his sword and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the attention to detail there. I don't give a shit about random NPCs that just walk around. If you're making them talk, they're just gonna tell you some bullshit nobody cares about anyway. Or look, over there is a cave, maybe. Like, this just every RPG does.
Don't matter. It adds.
It's not interesting.
It adds immersion to the world. Make you want to talk. Maybe get some quests. You can't just talk to some. And some have dialogue which give you quests. You got to make it true for all of them.
I really don't care about that, to be honest.
I'm just saying, if you got NPCs that give you quests, all of them got to be available.
I mean,
because you don't know.
NPC that gives you quests, it just should have like an exclamation point on top of his head.
That true, but still, I hate talking to people that don't say nothing back to me. So.
Well, then don't talk to people. Why are you talking to strangers on the street anyway? You're weird.
It's RPG.
And well, yeah, I'll make NPCs, like, I'll make it so that you can walk into like somebody's house and then the NPC will say stuff like, "What are you doing in my house? You're not like." Yeah,
but that's like every corny RPG Maker game.
I know.
Like, it's so overused as well. I tried to do that too, and it's like, I don't know. It's weird.
You like this.
It's an RPG trope and a thing that RPGs do, but I don't know. Random NPCs, they never say anything interesting, and they either tell you some random garbage about what's going on right now, like, oh my god, this city is under attack. Oh no, I would have never known, like, the 10 cultists running around as random encounters. I would have never thought this town was under attack. No shit. Like, I don't need to read that much. It's like, who cares? You're just doing it out of a habit at this point, like just talking to everybody. Like, for what reason?
Yeah.
Well, there might be a reason.
Yeah, there might be a reason, but when is there ever actually one? Like, you may hoping like for an item or for like a hidden quest or a hidden reward, but there's never any. Like, nobody does it. So I don't know. I personally stopped running to random NPC. I'm talking to nobody unless I have to. Fuck that shit. I don't care.
I guess everybody plays a little different.
Yeah,
I do actually talk to the random NPCs until I realize that there's no point in it.
Yeah, like if I start talking to people. Like when I start a game, I talk to the first few NPCs, and if they're talking uninteresting garbage, I'm just gonna stop because it's pointless. I don't have time for that. Like I wanna go on an adventure, not talk to random strangers.
But sometimes talking to random strangers is part of the adventure.
Yeah, but it's so rare that I just rather not waste my time reading the entire games where it doesn't.
Right.
It's like there's too many games where NPCs just spout nonsense. Like if you had any valuable dialogue to share, sure, I would talk to them, but most games don't.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing Baldur's Gate right now, and like almost every NPC I talk to has a choice for me to make. Like I can either, maybe there's like a little side event happening or whatnot. Like rarely do NPCs just have a random line of dialogue and then there's nothing more. Like every time I hit some random NPC up, they say something and I can maybe intimidate them and get some money or whatnot. Like there's always something happening. And that's good. That entices me to talk to random people on the road. But in RPG making games, which is not really a blame, like we're all single people for the most part. We can pull that shit off, of course. But like, why would I talk to an NPC there? I know there's nothing gonna happen.
Right.
Okay. All right. So the developer is in the chat. They have been expressively taking notes and in agreement. So that's the type of developers that we need, ones that can take feedback, without feeling offended.
Yeah, or don't take feedback, but just the important part is don't get fucking butthurt by it. Like that's always a bad thing.
Exactly.
Whether or not he's gonna implement it or implemented something and not other things is up to the developer, which is his job to determine like whether or not.
Yeah.
But like getting butthurt, always a bad thing. And like to the credits of this game, I think it looks nice and the music is nice and it did play nice. So I personally didn't really see any bugs happening really. And the mapping seemed okay too. And I was a little bit irritated by the sun effect.
Yeah.
That one sun effect that went really, really bright.
Yeah, it got really
and
bright.
I could barely see anything anymore,
Mm-hmm.
so that was a bit off-putting. But aside from that, I think the atmosphere of the game is great. Like in the forest where you could go to the east, right, and where there is this guard that's blocking you because you can't go there yet. If you go there, the screen actually gets darker because it's like a dark wood.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go out, it fades brighter again. Like there's some cool details there. So I think on the atmosphere part, this game is pretty good.
Yeah.
But like the other parts, which are like mostly more important, it kind of falls flat a little bit. Like the story in general is a little bit meh. The characters are not that interesting. And well, the combat system is just, I don't know how else to say it, it's just plain boring.
But it can all be improved.
Yeah, of course. Just put more work into it, as always, as we all do.
Yeah, anything could be improved. Anything. I wouldn't make the regular enemy so tanky. Especially like later on, especially I mean, you did say that you want your game to be balanced around the stance system, which you got inspired through a Final Fantasy 12 or something like that.
You gotta make it more interesting then, though. Like if you wanna do it around stances, that's cool. Like I was intrigued by the stances, but you need more solutions to that than just a skill basically everybody has that has a 3-turn cooldown and whatnot. Like it's not good enough. Like if you want to go in on the stances, you need more meat to that system.
Yeah. Yes. Sure.
And for me, I don't actually care if the regular encounters are tanky or not. The only time when that is a problem is when the combat is not enjoyable. Then it's a hassle because every fucking combat takes so long and I'm already bored by the combat system.
Yeah, that's
But if the
what.
combat is fun, I don't mind if a random encounter takes 5, 6, 7 turns because I'm having fun.
Yeah, he
Right?
said having fun.
But when it's boring, I'm like, oh my god, I ran into another fucking random encounter and I gotta waste 7 turns fighting these idiots. Right? I'm not sure if it's just the HP that's too high or maybe just your system is just not that enjoyable.
That's how I felt about with the demo. But you know, like I said, after the demo, the playthrough is better, you know, but you can still see it still uses the stance mechanics and stuff around, you know, stuff like that. But I like to see more of the game, man, to be honest. I like to see more of the development. You know, it's an interesting game, but it's just
I
needs some more.
the stances could be very interesting. Like there could be many different stances or skills that do stuff when the enemy has a stance. So the kick is not only the only option for it, right? The option is more than just interrupt the stance. There could be skills that benefit from an enemy having a stance. Maybe they'll deal bonus damage, or maybe you steal life or whatnot. Anything really, right? Like synergies and different stuff that can happen with these stances, other than enemy pop stance, you kick, because that's not good enough. Right? We need more variety and more things and more interesting things to these stances. Oh, I found one bug. I just came back to mind. Like this game has this hover over state effects thing to read the description, but it's inaccurate. Like the description pop up for the second character was like way behind the actual character. Like I had trouble finding it. It wasn't on the state icon, so something's wrong there. So there's that. Found one bug.
And there were some spelling issues too. Like guard was spelled wrong, you know, in certain parts. Can't really tell you where, but yeah. Other than that, I mean, great presentation. Just need some quality, you know, quality assurance done in terms of, you know, player interaction, which is the combat. But other than that, I mean,
and the story and the characters.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work. Like, don't get me wrong, you need to put a lot more work
it's
into
still
this
early.
thing.
It's still early, but
Yeah, I'm not saying that. Like, it's you got flaws in your fundamentals, so there is a lot of work involved to make this game better, but it can be better. Right now, it's just a very generic RPG that should never have a price tag.
so you don't think there should be a price tag?
No. Right now, as it is right now, no. I don't think anyone would want to pay for this.
What about you, Cychronic?
I think that if the issues that we've discussed are addressed, then it would be worth paying for then.
Yeah, but right now,
how much will you pay for this game?
Me?
Yes.
Well, in its current state, 0. But if I were to put a price on it, I'd say if they could fix the issues, I'd say like, you know, $9.99 or something. If they can fix those issues,
$9.99. Developer, if you're still in the chat or still aware, is this game commercial, or is this going to be a free to play game, or you gonna put a price tag on it? If I were to see this game in the store or on Steam or itch, and it was to my liking, I
what
would
does
probably,
that even mean?
you know, like it's not a bad game. Or
Yeah, but what would price it in its current state? Like if this was a full game.
0 right now.
in the current state right now,
Exactly. That's what we're judging. We're judging the current state and not what if.
What it could, not what it could be. Yeah.
Yeah. What ifs doesn't matter.
$2.99
Like, I could make a AAA game if I had $20 million.
for what it is. $2.99. $2.99 for what it is. I mean, because overall, it's not a bad game. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah, but it
has
doesn't
it.
stand out. Like there's a million other games just like this that are free.
That makes sense. That's true too.
And that's my problem with it. Like, why would I pick this game, which I had to pay $2.99 for, when I could just play any of these 7,000 other free itch games?
Mm.
And
That
that's
is a
why I'm
lot.
putting a 0 on it in this current state, because
And
right now
Wind
it's too
Rider,
generic.
you got Wind Rider out there, which is
Yeah,
free.
Wind Rider right now is free too. Like, why would I play this over Wind Rider? It's too generic for a price tag.
Because
Right
it
now. It
has
doesn't have a unique
because
selling
it
point or
has
anything.
Time Fantasy tile
Wow.
set.
So I'm
it's
gonna buy the
relevant.
tile set and make a game myself. That's money well spent, I would say. But I'm not gonna buy this game.
Mm. Well, LunarSpiral, I like to applaud you, because not a lot of people is brave enough to actually release a game, or get to the point where they have a demo for people to play. It all
Well,
takes
everybody and their mama have a demo.
dedication and braveness to do what you have achieved. And another thing, a lot of this stuff was our own opinion. We are not trying to put you down as a developer, nor raise you above other developers. We just gave you our own opinion and what we thought fair about your game. So this isn't an attack, nor this isn't, something to like really boost your confidence and give you a big head that you're better than the next developer or whatnot, because we all can improve in many different aspects in different ways. Me personally, I would like to see more of the game. I would like to see more in the development, so don't hesitate to contact me, or if you would like more of a gameplay, I will play future contents that your game has to offer. But I told you my stance on it. I wish the combat system was better. The story is okay with me, but Cychronic, who's more story driven, couldn't really get into it. But that's where.
Well, I thought it had a good start, but it's a little bit. It's just a little bit boring to me.
Yeah.
Like little bit like not hard to care about the characters and like
Yeah,
stuff like
the
that.
story package is not really there.
Yeah.
Like you start off with it's basic, right? You start off, you're the guy, and there's this enemy faction around. Like, that's pretty basic, right? That's RPG basics, which is fine. You can do that. Like, the cultists were kind of funny, cute in the beginning, and okay, that's how it goes. That's how you set up your story. That's fine, but you're lacking in the character department. Like, I don't care about the main character. You didn't make me care about him, as I said. Like, we have no motivation for this guy. Why is he even there? Like, why is
But he's a good kid.
who cares? I could be a good kid sitting on the fucking beach slurping on some pina coladas and whatnot. Why am I helping these people out? Right? And stuff like that. And the party members you get are not really interesting too. Like, they introduce themselves, but they don't join you either. And as I said, I didn't get very far because it took me almost 2 hours to get to the big city. So I was pretty much alone the entire time in 2 hours. 2 hours I'm playing a single character, which doesn't speak and has no personality and no motivations and no goals.
He had his vocal cords forcibly removed.
It's rough, man. It's really rough. So even if your overall like story and world building might be better, but I don't even get there because the character I'm playing is so fucking bland that I don't care about it anymore after 2 hours.
Yeah.
In a game, and especially a demo, you have to start strong. because the demo is supposed to bring fans to your game, right? You want an audience. That's why you put it online. If you didn't care about anyone playing your game, you don't need to upload it. You can just share it between your friends and family, or just keep it to yourself or whatnot. If you upload it, your goal is normally because you want people to play it. So you gotta start strong. You gotta keep them interested, and you gotta keep them invested in your game, and they gotta think about your characters and whatnot, and not just start off with a character that doesn't talk and we don't know anything about him, and he just does things because
we know about him. He's from Old Fart, and he's an adventurer.
Yeah, he's an adventurer from Old Fart, and that's all we know. We don't know what is Old Fart, and we don't know anything else. We just know there was a voice, and now we exist.
All right, guys, we got to spin the wheel for next week game, so we're going to do that. But developer, like I said, you are definitely welcome to let us know about future developments. If you want somebody to play test your game further, definitely contact me. You could definitely contact maybe one of us to give it a look. So let's spin the wheel, guys. There's a lot of games up for grabs, and good luck to whoever gonna win. I think I updated it. I hope I did. Yes, I did. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the wheel, our makeshift wheel with all the ads on there. Let me share it with the bros. Can y'all see it?
Not as of yet.
Not as of yet. They can't see the wheel. That's their problem. All right, let me share the screen. All right, here we go. Y'all can see it now?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, so this is for next week podcast. Good luck.
Please not Mana Raiders. Please not Mana Raiders.
We pause this preview to save your resources. Mana Raider's been eliminated.
There we go.
Mana Raider's been eliminated. Will. Where are you going to land? In Dreams of an Addict. Eliminated. Oh my God, look at all these games. All these submissions you guys done put in. Reroll. A reroll. The suspense. Who you think gonna win? Starscribe is out of there. I'm sorry, Bird Bunch.
We're never gonna play Starscribe, I swear. We're never gonna play that game.
We're never gonna play Starscribe. No time for mercy.
You should put the wheel on the screen. Actually, it's not on the screen.
You don't see it?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope, it's not on the screen.
Oh yeah, it's not on the screen.
Oh man, you know what? My janky. I forgot to change it.
Scuffed American, man. Keep telling you.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I know you love the wheel. Past the End is gone. That's another game made with Time Fantasy tile sets that I wouldn't mind playing. Desperation is gone. Desperation is out of here. Well, Pinnacle, we already played that. I don't know if that was up there. I thought I got rid of it. My bad. Everybody got a free spin. Lodestar eliminated. Lodestar eliminated. Princess is gone. Princess is gone. Princess is gone. Single malt is out of here. Single malt is out of here. Single malt was twice.
Man, dude, what you doing with that?
Wow. Yo, what's up, Padre? Heroes of Spiria is gone. Heroes Toilet in Wonderland is gone. Oh no.
I don't want to play Leyline Chronicles. Oh my
Leyline
god.
Chronicles 1.
No.
Leyline Chronicles 1. Congratulations, DK Studio. Dang it.
Gotta play that jank game.
Well, I guess we'll play it then.
The will has spoken, guys. The will has spoken. Leyline Chronicles 1. Unless DK says otherwise, we have to play it. So. Alright, guys. We are out of here. Thank you guys for just joining in once again. Developer. Keep grinding, my guy. Keep grinding, keep shining, and keep defying all the odds. You know, not many people complete a game, so definitely you are on your way. And you know, keep it on. So, any of my co-hosts have anything to say before we leave?
I'm good to go.
You already said all the warm fuzzy words.
And alright, guys, if you haven't joined the podcast Discord, please join us. You can find all the appropriated links in the demo. And also, we have a Twitch page. We would like for you to follow us on Twitch as well. You know, that way we can, you know, have some followers over there too. You know what I mean? So, thank you as always. And hopefully, I will see you guys in the stream. So, peace out.